We like to think that we live in a nice, safe neighborhood. The truth is that a burglary occurs every 13 seconds, and homes without a security system have a 300% greater chance of getting broken into. How many homes in your neighborhood were robbed yesterday? You need to start protecting your home and family today. Call now to get state-of-the-art protection. To keep your family and property safe, call the number on your screen now. Representatives are standing by to assist you.
Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Book Report, where we talk about what's going on in the news and notes and all the different states and sports betting reports around the country. We've got our usual suspects of state and national reports. We've got legislation. We've got deals. We've got launches. And speaking of launches, we're going to start off right away with Nebraska.
Yeah, that's right. They joined the ranks of the sports betting community.
Yep, Governor, I want to get his name right, Governor Pete Ricketts signed Gaming Expansion Bill LB 561 into law last week.
And it's not only sports betting, right?
It's gaming expansion.
It's gaming expansion. You got it's sports betting's part of it, but no mobile. Is that correct?
No mobile. It's retail only.
All right.
It's going to be retail betting at states' horse racing tracks. That's it.
Okay, well.
So, very, very simple.
Hey, it's a step in the right direction.
And, it's kind of interesting. Residents will not be able to place bets on in-state collegiate sports, especially the home games of the two college teams that are big there, the Cornhuskers, the Huskers?
Nebraska Cornhuskers.
And congratulations to Nebraska for joining the ranks of the sports betting states. And speaking of launching sports betting, we have a bunch of launch dates for upcoming state launches.
All right.
We have Arizona. They announced that they are still on track for the start of the NFL season.
That's always one of those benchmark dates, start of the NFL season was when they want to start sports betting, or usually it's the playoffs or the Super Bowl, or March Madness is another benchmark that everyone uses. We're into the realm of now when we hear of launches, their goal date is start by the launch of the NFL season, right?
Well, the official date that they have set as a target is September 9th.
Okay.
So, and speaking of other launch dates, we have, and I'll go through the list of what's coming up here, Wyoming plans to launch online sports betting September 1st.
Wow, okay.
South Dakota, Deadwood, retail sports betting September 1st. Connecticut is planning to launch online sports betting by September 6th.
Great, good.
And in fall of 2021 of this year, Maryland is going to launch retail sports betting as well as online offerings to follow after retail launches. Nebraska is going to be launching like we just talked about. And then we have the first quarter of 2022 is the planned launch of online sports betting in New York. Now, that can be pushed back, but tentatively, that's when they're actually planning on launching online sports betting in the Empire State.
I guess their goal date is the Super Bowl, I would guess. I bet you if they're not going to do the start of the NFL season, the next big date is the Super Bowl. So I guess that's their target date.
And after that is March Madness.
Yeah.
So, right in a row, you got two big events. It makes sense.
Sure.
They're not going to have anything in place by the fall here. So, but again, that could all go by the wayside. I'm still dying to see if they get the casino in Manhattan.
There was a lot of talk about that. Someone even said, could there be a casino in Times Square, which, the traffic is terrible in New York already. Can you imagine a casino in New York City? But no, the people have been talking about it. Developers have been talking about it. I don't see any concrete plans for it. But, hey, I guess it's fun to talk about.
There's always a way to introduce it. And
Sure.
if it gets rejected, it gets rejected. But you keep introducing it, keep your constituency happy, that sort of thing. So,
That'd be amazing, though. A casino in the heart of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, just so we have a overall picture here, about 40% of the country has access to some form of legal sports betting now.
Great.
When these other states launch, you're looking at probably another bump up, another 5%, 45, 46% of the country will have access to legal sports betting in some way, shape, or form, whether it's retail or online, or even parlay stuff.
I have to check, and I want to see how these things develop. But, I'm a resident of New Jersey, and I have the sportsbooks, mobile sportsbooks for New Jersey. I mean, I'm very close to Pennsylvania. I'm in New York City all the time. I'm wondering if there's going to be a shared wallet between these jurisdictions, because I don't want to, when I'm in Pennsylvania, I don't want to have a whole section of sports books on my phone, or when I'm in Manhattan, I don't want to have a whole different other apps for sports books. I'm hoping that these things, if I have FanDuel in New Jersey, hopefully I'll be able to play it in Pennsylvania and New York.
Well, again, depends on the operator. Also, depends on the platform, too, because a lot of them are using different platforms in different states, too.
Well, the one thing I screwed up, I found out on my phone, I got a new phone, and I downloaded some of the sports books that I use, and one of them was Sugar House. And I accidentally downloaded the wrong sportsbook app. I did Sugar House, Pennsylvania, when I should have done Sugar House, New Jersey, and it wasn't working. So I finally realized what it was. I didn't see the top. It said Sugar House, Pennsylvania. I was like, why isn't this working?
Well, see, that's an indication of different platforms.
Well, that's when I hope that would started this question. I hopefully, if I have a sports book app in New Jersey, if I cross state lines, hopefully I can just change to Pennsylvania and it's a shared wallet. So hopefully that'll...
I'll give you an indication of how different the platforms are. IGT just announced they did a deal in North Dakota with just the Dakota Magic Casino and Hotel. They're going to be using the Play Sports platform. Other casinos have different platforms.
Yeah.
Regardless of the owner of the casinos, the different casinos make different deals. As Scientific Games, they just launched in Indiana, Virginia, and Tennessee with WinBet. WinBet uses the Scientific Games platform. Mm-hmm. So that uses Don Best sports stats.
Yeah.
And every platform is going to be different.
Yeah, but I hope as more and more states get sports betting, and like I said, I'm in New Jersey, and New York is getting mobile sports betting. Pennsylvania already has it. If I have FanDuel, hopefully I can use that same app and just change the location where I'm at, or wherever, how that works. But hopefully it's a shared wallet. But it's just to make things easier for me.
Well, you know what's going to be really nice at some point in New Jersey? What? You don't have to go to another state to bet on New Jersey college teams.
Yes, I hear that's, hopefully the voters will agree that that's kind of a stupid rule, and it does nothing Senate, for integrity. And, hopefully...
the state Senate just approved 36-1 the resolution to amend the sports betting law to permit legal wagers on in-state college teams and collegiate events.
Yeah, because right now New Jersey has the rule that if a college and university is located in New Jersey, or if there is a sporting event of a collegiate nature in the state, you can't bet on it. So,
no, it's always been. I know.
I guess it was an integrity kind of thing
to protect the student athlete.
Sure,
that
I understand, but it really, in practicality, it did nothing.
Well, in practicality, it just denied the state a certain amount of revenue. Yeah. And
I like the way one state did it. They said you can bet on the college teams, you just can't bet on the individual players.
Right. I think that's a good compromise.
I think that's a good compromise.
That's a great compromise.
I can work with that.
Bet on college, but not the players.
Yeah.
And I know Florida threw that into their bill. We'll see what happens down there. That's going to have a whole bunch of messy legal challenges, and it's still got to have even federal approval. So, but again, I think, with everything that happened also with the pandemic and this past March Madness, they had an event. There was also not March, I misspoke there. There was a collegiate event in New Jersey where we couldn't bet on any of the games.
Oh, yeah, no, there was a collegiate basketball tournament. I forgot which one. I think it was the MAC or something like that, the Mid-Atlantic thing. But, no, it happened in Convention Hall, in Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City with about 9 sports books around it, and no one could bet on it.
No, that probably was the last straw for a lot of this stuff.
It was just weird. A great basketball tournament. You couldn't bet on it mobily. You had 9 sports books in walking distance. I mean, next door you had a sports book where you couldn't even bet on this thing.
You actually had to leave New Jersey to bet on a New Jersey sporting event.
Yeah.
Which, that makes absolutely no sense, and I think this is where they're trying to alleviate a little bit of frustration on the better side. Bettor side, I should say, not better side. But, we'll see exactly what happens. That's going to go on the ballot in November, and, I'm hoping people vote for this, because that just creates an expansion of not only the revenue, but the taxes.
More revenue for the state.
More revenue for the state, more revenue for the casinos, especially now after COVID, where they need some help, getting back to where they used to be for their revenues and everything. So, this is a right move. Going over to some numbers. We have April and May numbers to talk about here. We didn't have time last week to talk about
June. We're still talking April numbers?
We didn't have time to talk Virginia, because Virginia released their April sports betting numbers at the end of press time for us before we started taping.
Okay.
They reported a sports betting handle of $236 million, 22% lower than March. They're experiencing the same March Madness hangover pretty much the entire nation is,
sure,
sports betting-wise. They had adjusted gross revenue of $11.38 million. That's after all promos were taken out and deductions, and it ended up being an 8.22% hold for operators in the state. Interesting thing about Virginia, the growth of that industry, they're expecting it to be the fastest to $1 billion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, didn't we have a story? What was the fastest to $1 billion? Was it Colorado?
Right now, the fastest is Tennessee still.
Tennessee still?
6
really?
months.
Okay,
it took them
Tennessee.
6 months of operation.
I knew it was Tennessee or Colorado, but no, Tennessee did amazing. And Tennessee doesn't even have retail sports books. Tennessee is all online.
According to all the stats we're seeing, Virginia is expected to cross the $1 billion mark in handle in 5 months of operation.
Wow.
So they are doing some really good. All they need is about $150 million in May in terms of handle to actually get to the $1 billion mark.
So they'll probably get that.
They'll probably get that, yes. Because especially they just had 236 in April. I'm wondering, what's in May? I mean, horse racing is still not part of the sports betting scheme of everybody. So May probably...
Well, you had the
baseball, basketball,
the start of the
basketball.
playoffs and things like that.
You got NHL
hockey,
and NBA, all that stuff. You got a lot of auto racing.
Washington,
Indy 500.
Washington Wizards were playing before the Sixers knocked them out in May.
Yes.
So you'll get some like Virginia people betting on Washington Wizards.
Oh yeah.
So,
it
should be
interesting numbers. I mean, I know playoff betting is a lot more. There's a lot more of it than there is regular season, especially NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see exactly where it goes with that. But Virginia may be setting some records pretty soon. We'll see. Rhode Island also released their April numbers. We didn't get a chance to talk about them as well. Sports betting handle in April of $29 million. 16 of it was mobile.
Okay.
And now that's kind of interesting. I thought it'd be a little higher in terms of how much of a percentage of the total handle would be, especially when they got rid of the in-person registration requirement a couple months ago.
Well, more people are out. More people are going to these places. So,
there's no Patriots to bet on either.
Yeah.
So, but it's
Red Sox are doing well, so maybe that helps.
Red Sox just have been doing incredibly well.
Yeah.
It's surprising, that team. But a couple interesting numbers here. Since November of 2018, that's its launch, Rhode Island's books have taken in over $623 million in handle. That adds up to about or averages out to $728 for every resident 18 years or older in the state.
Okay.
But the problem with that number, you got to realize a lot of their betting public comes from Massachusetts and Connecticut.
Yeah.
So once Connecticut launches...
Yeah, I wonder how much of an effect Connecticut starting sports betting will affect Rhode Island. So that should be interesting.
Well, you know,
I didn't even think of that.
All depends
I
on
rarely think of Rhode Island. I'm sorry, people from Rhode Island, but I rarely think of Rhode Island sports betting.
Well, you know, we rarely think of New Hampshire.
No.
But that's all DraftKings. That's
yeah.
a big time operation up there in New Hampshire. We don't think about too much. But Rhode Island's always been interesting to me because they have two casinos and online sports betting, and they're actually doing pretty well. The other numbers for Rhode Island. Rhode Island is winning more than residents in Washington, D.C., Delaware, Arkansas, and Mississippi. They have tied with Oregon for the most winning. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly where Rhode Island goes. You're right with Connecticut launching. Now we have our first May numbers, Oregon. Oregon's May handle came in at $27.8 million. That's up 10% from April. They're having a slight rebound with the sports betting numbers. Revenue did decrease from April. Most wagered on sports in the state is still basketball, taking in $16 million in handle. Rest of the top five: baseball, soccer, hockey, and MMA. Your favorite sport, table tennis, came in. It was the seventh most bet on sport, but it was the sixth in handle. The handle was about $775,000. 14,585 bets were placed on table tennis, and an average bet of $51.
Well, hey, it's a popular sport, I guess, in certainly Colorado. I know that's a big one. What's the other state?
Colorado and Oregon. We just
Colorado and Oregon, yeah. But there's no other state that I haven't seen table tennis anywhere else discussed except for Oregon and Colorado.
Well, those two states are the only two that I know of that separate out table tennis. Everybody else puts it in the other category. So you have to actually dig around for that, but it's not separated out like it is in those two states. Got a couple deals to hit before we end the segment. We have Fubo TV launching sports betting through their Roku and Android apps. It's a test period. They're beta testing the system. When you're watching Fubo TV, it's going to be the Confederation. It's a Mexican football league, soccer league.
Okay.
Viewers are going to be able to click on a button or a link inside the stream where the live stats are going to be starting to stream, and then people watching those will be able to participate in trivia contests to win a free year subscription for Fubo. It's going to be stuff like who's going to score the first goal.
Oh, it's one of those predictive things?
Yeah, it's a predictive sports betting trivia thing. Let's see. BetMGM became the exclusive sports betting partner of the Hockey News. Let's see. They're going to be creating content with the Hockey News. BetMGM will be.
Okay.
They're also going to have an increased visibility through print ads in the Hockey News magazine, one of the few publications that's still in print.
I like the Hockey News. Yeah,
it's been around for a while, and it's one of the best ones out there.
Yeah, long time, yeah.
And staying in the hockey world, we have BetMGM doing a deal with Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, I'm going to see some commercials with Wayne Gretzky in it, huh?
Yep, he's going to be another brand ambassador. He was brought on to help with their North American campaigns. You know,
are we going to start seeing it soon? Because we're going to have the Stanley Cup playoffs here, finals here.
Well, I'm assuming you're going to see it there, but I think the push is going to be more for Canada than anything, because Canada's getting closer and closer. They're actually moved on to the final reading of their bill up there before it becomes almost eligible to become a law.
Okay.
So Canada's pretty close to happening. I think smart move on their part. And Genius Sports in their earnings call. This will be the last entry for today. There's a whole bunch of other ones on the print version of this. In their earnings call. Remember they did the deal with the NFL?
Yep.
And part of the deal was they were giving warrants to the NFL for ownership in the Genius Sports. In the earnings call, they disclosed that the $170 million worth of warrants that were given to the NFL was only part of the payment.
Okay.
The rest of it is there's going to be another $22.5 million handed over to the NFL over the next 6 years.
Wow.
So you're looking at probably a $200 million deal there.
Jeez. All right. Boy, the money's staggering.
Yeah, well, it's ownership in the company now. So NFL is going to be continuing to grow its share of Genius Sports. That's it for the book report this week. If whatever stories we didn't cover, head on over to Turnpike Sports Radio blog. Go to turnpikesportsradio.com, click on the blog button, and you'll see these stories that we did talk about and also the stories we didn't have a chance to hit in written form there.
And that'll do for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.